two in our series of how to go from scared to buy into jumping in to be that first-time home buyer is talking about what that first conversation actually looks like with the lender. The dreaded conversation where you actually have to rip off that Band-Aid and talk about your money. So I know that can be hard for people, even going into a new relationship with a significant other can even be timid to talk about finances. So Tia, what does that first conversation look like with you as a lender?
So the first thing I like to know about a borrower is where they see themselves, what kind of purchase price do they want to be in, what kind of monthly payment is comfortable for them. Once I kind of know that, then we start diving into what does your credit look like? What does your income look like? Do you have funds saved for a down payment? We really get to dive into their financial scenario, and then I can see where they're at, where they want to be. Do those things align? Do we need to tweak a couple things? Do we need to boost credit score? Do we need to increase income or pay off debts? But then I can tailor where they're at to where they want to be and get them on the right path.
And so much of the time people will send me Zillow listings and they're sending me homes that are just, oh, this one was, under 300,000, but it's because they don't even know what they can afford. So what should they come to that first conversation prepared with? Like, do they need to have a credit report? Do they need to, have 20% down? What does that look like?
First thing I would say is just come to our conversation with an open mind. Be willing to answer questions truthfully because I'm gonna find out once we start diving in anyway. Come to that willing to share information. Likely we're gonna start with a soft credit pull, so I'm gonna need the socials. Be willing to share what your income and your employment history look like. What does your savings account look like? After that, then we can really get the documentation in to support it, but I can tell a lot off that first conversation just by with what they're willing to share.
Tia, talk to me about a cosigner because I have first-time home buyers in all different categories. I have one gal that is single and working her butt off. She's in her career, but she's maybe planning to get married later, but does she need to wait until she gets married or can she do this on her own income?
So we will look at all the options possible. So if it's a single person that wants to buy right now, I'm gonna look at what can you do by yourself right now. If what they can do is not what they want, then we start exploring additional options. Is there little things that we can tweak in their scenario to get them to where they want to be? If that's not possible, do we have co-signers available? Do they have a family member, mom, dad, aunt, uncle, etc.?
Amazing. I know specific situations where mom and dad have helped because they know that right now in this market, although rates are a little bit higher, that it's still a good investment to buy because you can get better deals on homes, which we'll get into later in the series. But having a co-signer like mom and dad, it's just like co-signing on a car loan. They're not owning the home, they're just protecting that you're going to pay your payment.
Yeah, and there's a couple of ways that you can do it and structure it with the parents co-signing, but a lot of it is the same process for mom and dad that the borrower would go through. We're gonna pull credit, we're gonna get income, assets, the whole 9 yards. But parents a lot of times can help bridge the gap for what the kids qualify for and what they want to qualify for.
Right. So single girl, single guy, married, divorced, investment, it's possible.
For sure.
So in closing of what that first conversation looks like, what I'm gathering is this is where you just get to meet and talk about your dream outside of the actual home, which is what I would talk about with you, but how you can structure a loan to make that dream come true. And what should they do? Should they call you, email you, text you?
Any of the above. Call, text, email, whatever the preferred method of communication is good with me.
Right.
I get a lot of Instagram messages actually.
All right, DM her.
Yeah, slide in the DMs.